Stephenie Meyer's face cast for the characters in Twilight is one of my favorite topics, honestly. And if you were around before the Twilight movies came out, when it was just the books and you could only really talk about them on forums, you know that Stephenie Meyer's website was like the place to be. And the thing is, all this stuff that she posted back then is still up, and it's such a treasure trove. Some of her pics are just like so interesting and funny, and like she also has like fan suggestions on there, which are just so much fun. Stephenie's number one pick for Edward was Henry Cavill, and this is the one that I feel like a lot of people do know about. Some people, for some reason, thought that it was Gerard Way and that Twilight was Gerard Way fanfiction. It was not. That was never a thing. The only time Stephenie ever mentioned My Chemical Romance is that she lists MCR as one of many musical influences she used while writing the books, but there's lots of bands and artists that she talks about, like Muse, she literally dedicates in the books. Like, it was not Gerard Way fanfic. And Henry Cavill has long since been a lot of people's dream Edwards. I was a Cedric Diggory girl, so I was elated when I found out that Rob was cast as Edward. And I know you guys know me as like an Edward hater, and I am, but I was a Rob lover and an Edward lover at one point. Interestingly, she also put like fan suggestions for Edward on her website, and one of them was Rob and also Jackson Rathbone, who plays Jasper the Confederate. Her number one pick for Bella was Emily Browning, and I definitely see that. Here she talks about how Emily is her favorite, but she could also see Ellen Page or Danielle Panabaker, and she said that she really didn't want them to cast some lip-syncing pop star slash actress for Bella. I don't know who she was talking about. I have a few ideas, but like LOL. In another post, she specifically mentioned that she liked Danielle Panabaker because she was so good in Sky High, and obviously Stephenie was a really big fan of Sky High because her number one pick for Jacob was none other than Stephen Strait. This was her number one pick for Jacob. After she was like, Stephen Strait's probably too old to play Jacob now, she said that she liked Tyler Posey, both of which are very handsome and also literally not native. And she says second to only Edward on her passionately decided list was Charlie Hunnam for Carlisle, because she says him and Nicholas Nickleby is like literally Carlisle. So this is Carlisle according to Stephenie. Apparently, remember, book Carlisle is only 23. For Esme, she just put like fan suggestions, and we have Mary Louise Parker and Jean Louise Kelly. Stephenie's pick for Alice was Rachel Lee Cook, and then for Jasper, she just put like suggestions again. Brent Ford and Callum Best, and Ian Somerhalder was an Edward suggestion, which is really funny. Her pick for Emmett was Daniel Cudmore, which is really funny because he ended up being in the movies. He plays Felix. She said she couldn't find an actress for Rosalie, but Joanna Krupa, who is a model, looks like Rosalie to her, and that was her pick. We talked about yesterday how her pick for Laurent was literally John Stamos, and for Billy, she said Graham Greene, who ended up playing Harry Clearwater. And this one always gets me. She says Cillian Murphy for James, and she said she started out leaning towards Joshua Jackson, but she also literally describes James as like an unattractive vampire. So I don't know, Stamos for Laurent and Cillian Murphy or Joshua Jackson for James.